Welcome to your Monday, January 20th Power Hour with Katelyn, Carly, and Clare Fulton, where we're going to talk about stats and the weekly update. As a start, tell us how the week was. It's been 1 week since we all met together. How has the week been, energy-wise?
We're well into 2025 now.
Yeah. Anyone do run open houses?
Great.
Who did?
Rochelle.
Okay, so we'll just wait. I'm just kidding. Is Kate Jones still? Oh yeah, Kate. Did you run an open house? No. Okay, it got canceled, I think. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Because it's sold?
No, I think because they're changing the price, and they're changing the price this week, and they were going to do it before, so that makes sense to hold off. So when you do
so
it,
it wouldn't have been a fresh listing anyway,
no,
right? Okay.
No, we were hoping that she would have done it at the price change. So that's okay. Maybe this weekend. Anyone else run open houses or anyone online?
I had an agent went to open house in Brooklyn.
You did. You went to an agent open house.
One of my mortgage agents.
Oh, okay, great.
Almost 15 people walked in.
15 people in Durham area, you said?
What was the price point?
800.
800, nice. And that's an option for you guys too. If you want to partner with Varan's team, he's got mortgage agents that will come with you to an open house, and that's a great conversation starter. So it's not just about you; it's a mortgage specialist and a real estate agent. So just talk to Varan if you want someone to help you host it.
It's good too if you're a woman and scared to do open houses on your own to have a partner there. Makes things feel a little more safe as well.
Yep, I like that. Poor Rochelle, we're going to call you out.
Your team's volunteering that now? Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah. How was your open house, Rochelle?
It was great.
It was good? Where was it, Scarborough or?
No, it was Whitby.
Whitby.
Borderline Whitby agents.
Okay, brand new listing as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, and.
5 days on the market.
Okay.
Price point?
I had $749.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
we had 23 groups come through.
wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And what were they? Were they working with realtors, shopping, neighbors?
I'm working through that actually right now. I would say like there's quite a few that didn't have a realtor or said that they didn't.
Okay.
But there's quite a few that said they did, and then some did come with realtors.
Good.
Yeah.
And we're gonna take that we're gonna take that sheet, and then we're gonna stick it in our CRM, and nice.
Good. What is the general energy of people coming through?
People look pretty good, but they're quiet.
Yeah, they're reserved. Yeah.
Yeah, especially at open house.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not quiet, so
That's a good thing, though. That's why you're in real estate.
it's hard, like, when people are quiet.
Okay. Like you get energy when they're.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
fair.
open house can be like a little intimidating, I
So,
think.
but I did have one client that I met at a previous open house that I messaged that day and said, hey, this place might suit you, and he showed up with his wife this time.
Okay.
So I got to meet the wife, so it's like our second kind of interaction.
That's a good idea.
So,
Nice.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that sounds
Very
productive.
good. Sounds good.
Good. I don't know if Elizabeth's online. I know she did an open house in Brampton. I'm curious how that went as well, but.
Anderson or?
Yeah. But good. Okay, well, we kicked off today our in-person coaching session, 12 p.m. We were doing Chris Leader. We revamped it to Ryan Serhant. I think it went really well.
Yeah, how'd you guys like Serhant today?
Yeah?
It's pretty
Thumbs
good,
up?
right?
Yeah. Just
I
nice to have
liked
different
it.
energy, good energy.
Throw some F-bombs out there, like throw you off.
Yeah. He's a pretty genuine kind of, like, it feels relatable, doesn't it? Like, you could also say the same things that he's saying.
The only thing unrelatable is his $37 million listings that he's got, but otherwise everything
the
is
scale's a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sure.
Yeah, otherwise, today he was talking about negotiation tactics and closing the gap, which is a really important conversation to have these days, because you either got sellers that want to get a really high price or you've got buyers that want to pay a really low price. So he was talking all about how to bridge that gap to get either your buyers to come up or your sellers to come down, how to get everyone on the same page and treat negotiations more like a teamwork kind of thing when you're working with the other agent or with your own client. So I thought that was a really cool thing to talk about, because it's really important, because it can be, some of us agents just give up. If your buyer doesn't want to pay, you're like, okay, let's go look at another house instead of trying to figure out, okay, yes, they don't want to accept your price, but what can we get them to accept, or what things can we give up? Or same with the seller, like, it's hard to get an offer these days. Like, we've had a condo on the market since June. So when you get that offer, instead of saying no, like, okay, well, how can we work with that offer? So he's talking about 4 main things to take into mind. Were you going to say something, Claire?
Yeah, just so you talked about bridging the gap. Bridging the gap means somebody wants $1 million, someone wants to pay $900,000, $100,000 gap. Like how do you overcome that gap, right?
How do you close it?
And you got to figure out motivation is, things like that, right?
Yeah, and it's not necessarily coming in the middle of the gap price-wise. It's
so it's funny how we got to 2025. We're talking about all these things here and bridging the gap and throwing things in. And I'll go back to 1970 training, so we'll go back 40, 50 years, right? So he's talking about throwaways, stuff like that. So you're $100,000 apart. Maybe it doesn't work, maybe it does, but you're apart. So why not think outside the box a little bit? I remember Percy years ago telling a story where he had two people that he was trying to get the gap together. So what did the gap together back then was the guy had this great big, at the time, had a great big 32-inch television down in the basement. I know, 40-inch television. Back in those days, that was a big TV, right? So he negotiated the TV as part of the deal to overcome the gap.
Yep.
You know, getting that? So some guy's got some fancy AV system with wired out speakers throughout the whole house and blah, 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 and it's going to, he's going to take it with him, and he's never going to reinstall it, but he's going to take it with him. You're $100,000 apart. Why not throw in the AV system to try to overcome the gap?
Yeah, we had another.
Getting that, like you got sellers that say, "I'm going to take the drapes with them." What are they going to do? Put them in a box, put them in your basement. They're going to rot, right? They're never going to reinstall them because the windows are never the same. So we'll throw in all the draperies. Right, so you think like that to cover the.
We had a live situation this year where the buyers were going to go on a cruise and they wanted to move in before they were going on the cruise, but the sellers didn't want to sell it in 2024 because they wanted to avoid a tax, like the capital gains tax. So they wanted to sell in January, but the buyers wanted to move in October. So what we did was we sold it with a closing in January, but then the buyers got to move in and do a lease back for a couple months. So they just paid rent to the new owners. And we had an agreement to renovate the place before they moved in as well. The sellers were already out of the unit. So in order to bridge the gap, that you have to come up with creative solutions is what he was talking about too. Mm-hmm. So it's not always just about the money, it's about the lifestyle and the goals that everyone's trying to get personally as well. So sometimes you have to tap into the other agent to figure out what the buyers want and then what your sellers want as well.
That situation also took like 3 weeks, I think, to negotiate.
It didn't take 3 weeks, but it took probably about 9 sign backs for sure. We had to sign back and forth a lot, but it took a lot of communication between everybody. So those are situations as well. So he said stay solution oriented. Don't bring problems, bring solutions. There was a lot of good ones too where they were talking about they have friends that they're representing, which can always be a really tricky thing to do when you're trying to have a business relationship and still keep the friendship. So for them, he was saying, be pissed. Like, be pissed with them. If their house isn't selling, call them before they call you and be like, I'm really pissed about this situation, and tell them all the things you're doing, but get emotional with your friends.
Get on their side.
Get on their side and be on their side, but also have the same emotion as them, which is something you probably wouldn't do if it wasn't your friend. So I thought that was kind of a cool situation as well.
Everybody follow what we're saying here? So you've got a client that's probably not selling, hasn't been selling for a while. A lot of agents take the defense saying, well, we did this, we did this, we did that. So he's saying go the other way around. Get in the same boat as them, saying, I'm really ticked the property hasn't sold. I don't understand it. The stupid agents aren't bringing offers, and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
What do you think? So you're getting on the same time. You say, I agree. I think stupid agent, blah, blah, blah. So what are we going to do this? What's the solution here? Let's reduce the price. Oh, okay, let's go. But you're on the same side instead of you being defensive. What he also said here, and I like this idea first, you need to call them first.
Yep. Get ahead of them.
I tell you, if you're defensive and you're afraid to talk to your client because the property hasn't sold, you hadn't had any showings, and you're waiting for them to phone you, and you don't want to pick up the phone because it might be them, you have a problem. You have to phone them first. And this goes back to what I talked about last week about timing and routines. Mike Ferry always said, look, I'm on every Friday afternoon or every Monday morning, whatever it is, I will phone you with updates. And come Friday afternoon, you phone me the updates. It's consistent, right? And you can't be defensive. The market's what's going on. Your job is just to expose it. So anyways.
And then the final point I liked for people that have overpriced listings, if you can't get them to go down to the price you want, he recommended ordering an appraisal. Just hiring a professional appraisal. I think they're about $800 to $1,000. Just order an appraisal, an outside person to come in. The reason for that is because the buyers are going to have an appraisal either way. So if your buyer wants $200,000 more than what it's worth, it might not even close because an appraisal is going to come in. So if you put them in that situation where you say, well, even if your buyers did pay 1.6 and it came in at 1.4, you're not going to be able to close that transaction because the appraisal is not coming in. So why don't we bring in an appraiser, come in, tell you what the price is worth, or have 5 other agents give you opinions as well. and start to put a case together to prove why the house isn't worth that, and it's not just based off your opinion either. I don't know if anyone does that, but
How much do appraisals cost now?
I think it's like $1,000.
Depends. Banks appraisals are cheaper.
Yeah.
Depending would be like maximum.
So if somebody came to you and says, "Can you give me an appraisal?" What would I expect to pay?
$750.
Really? Okay. I thought I was thinking like 300. So.
I think when the bank does it themselves, it's reduced.
All right.
There's about 500.
So
For
lots
a
of
bank
solutions.
appraisal, but sometimes they just do drive-bys or their name that they do the Emily or whatever it is, right? So okay.
So lots of solutions were given today, which I like.
Yeah, I like that. I think it was fresh.
So we'll probably do more of that. We'll switch up the topics every week, but he's got a lot of sales skills type of videos, so we'll probably try to stick to that topic more than just marketing and all that, which he's really well known for, but we'll mix it up.
So we have copyright issues. We're paying, I think, $40 a month or whatever it is, $50 a month to have access to Sirhan there. So years and years ago, we used to be able to take copies in here. You take this link and you do it yourself, but you can't do that anymore. So if you want to do it yourself, it's like, what, $40?
It's $40 a month, American, I believe.
Yeah.
So if you guys don't want to come into the office, then you guys can order a membership online for it as well. So
Yeah, but it's kind of nice. But it's kind of nice to see a fresh look at it rather than the Mike Ferries of the world and all the other guys out there have been running forever. So it's fresh.
But still same type as topics, just different
Yeah, it
energy.
doesn't change. Just a different way of putting it. So.
Yeah, sure. Cool.
So let's jump into stats.
Okay, this is stats. Okay, so can you guys? Okay, so what Sirhan said here is you got to know your stats. You have to know your numbers. You have to know your stats, right? So if I said to you, we're doing as a TREB, we're doing 100 deals per day. Is that good or bad?
What are we comparing to?
I just want to get you. I want to get in your headspace for a second here. So if I told you if the TREB is doing 100 deals per day, is that a strong market or is that a weak market?
Weak market.
Anybody else?
Weak market.
Anybody else?
Very strong market. 300 sales.
Okay, so somebody's saying strong and two people are saying weak. Okay, so why is it strong? That's why nobody wants to answer my questions because I got to repeat it, right?
You gotta know the why.
100 deals per day. Is the market strong or not strong?
Not strong.
Okay, Beela, or sorry, I thought it was Beela here. Who said it? Beela or Pranav? It's not strong. Why is it not strong?
Well, you see the amount of agents are working in trap.
Number of agents? No, I'm talking about sales. So.
Yeah, sales like on they should have a lot more than that. So
No.
I think 300 sales per day would be so strong market.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. All depends on inventory, right? It's very,
No. We make our money on sales.
No. It's a weak or strong, I'm talking.
I'm just, okay, though, my point is, and Sirhan said here, you have to know your numbers. So if I tell you that we're doing 100 sales per day, and you can't tell me whether it's a good market or bad market, you have a problem with numbers. Like, think about it for a moment. Nazir?
Bad market because it gives you average of 35,000 sales a year, while we need at least between 7
There we
and
go.
75.
So here's the answer, right?
New agent.
Welcome, Nazir.
Wow, welcome.
Nazir.
So
It's Nazir's first day today.
So you don't have to be a genius to figure out, and somebody asked this a couple weeks ago, how do I know what the market's up to? How many deals per day? How do you know per deals per day? Just go to Realm, wherever it might be. So if you're doing 100 deals per day, you're doing 3,000 units per month. We haven't had 3,000 units per month since 15 years.
Stone Age.
Right, the Stone Age, right? So the market itself is actually a little tough. If we had 300 transactions per day, it'd be 9,000. 9,000 is now getting into the range where it's a decent market. So right now it's a slower market. Today, we're at 99 deals per day. Okay, so the market itself is tough. But actually, the market for the first 19 days in January, the market's down 20% from the first 19 days last year. So we're down 20%, right? And last January, we did overall for the entire month, 4,177 sales. So hopefully we're going to go up a little bit more from the 100. And we usually do. Usually the last half of the month is when deals firm up. So we've got a lot of conditional deals. Deals will firm up. So that number will come up. But my point is, off the top of your head, can you tell whether or not the market is good or bad? All right?
No, you just said something. You didn't say it was a bad market. You said it was
Sorry,
a
not a
tough
bad market.
market.
Everything goes in cycles, right? Everything goes in cycles. If you have listings, you're king. we've got 16,164 active listings. 8,000 are freeholds, 8,000 are condos. As I said, the condominium sales are actually down 19%. Overall sales are down 20%. Freeholds are down 21%. But it is the start of the year, and there are a lot of distractions, as we mentioned last week. One distraction is going on as we speak. All right, everybody knows what that distraction is right now. So I think a lot of people are waiting to see whether or not the sky's going to fall or not. So what's happening there?
I mean, save TikTok, so.
Yeah, so I think things will be taking off, right? Leases are 17,000 leases, 9,800 are condos, 77,300 are freeholds. The leases themselves are actually up 10% for condos. They're minus 10% for freeholds. So the condominium market's actually doing a little bit better than this time last year. Mm-hmm. Is that because the rates dropped, or don't know?
Well, they're leases. Right?
Leases, who knows? Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm talking about the numbers themselves, but anyway, so that's it for the numbers. So just is 200 deals per day good or bad?
Average.
I would take 200 per day. That's 6,000, right?
That's pretty good.
Right, and 6,000 times 12. Now the record, just so you know, the record for Treb was 113,000 units back a couple of years ago. Last year was about 67,000. Year before 67,000. So there is a huge pent-up demand for properties, waiting for the interest rates to come down or whatever it might be, right? So I think it's going to be a strong year, but we're just waiting for it. That's all. And the more listings you have, the more control you have. So.
Well, you're not alone. Lots of people think it's going to be a good year. Korea came out with their stats right after we had our meeting, and despite December being a low month, it was actually the busiest quarter. If you don't consider the pandemic, it was the busiest quarter last year, 2024, in 20 years. So not considering our pandemic type world. And so Korea is predicting that because of the strong quarter, and despite a slower start this month, that there is about 2.5 years of pent-up demand from the past 2 years that are going to come to fruition this spring. So even though it's a little bit slower, right now we're only 20 days in. A lot of pent-up demand, the lower borrowing costs, but despite those, we have a couple distractions that are preventing people right now from jumping the gun right today. So everybody's predicting a better spring for sure. Korea is still keeping their forecast a little bit conservative because of the distractions that we're going through. So they did consider that in their market report, but they kept it conservative. They're going to adjust it as they go. In April 2025, they will release their new forecast as well, so we'll pay attention to that, and that's Korea's forecasting as well. But we've seen the same story over and over, that people are expecting a busy spring, whether it's going to be like crazy pent up, or it could be a little bit more balanced. So I've been reading both opinions. That some people think it's going to be a little bit stable, some people think it's going to spike really crazy, but we'll see what happens for sure. In terms of the rental market, who is running rentals right now? So we know that rentals are surpassing sales. And what's your general feeling of the rental market? Is it tenant side or listing side morale, both sides? And are you seeing lower prices? What are you seeing? Yeah, I'm reading that too. Curtis, what are you seeing in the rental market? Slow in terms of like prices, or? There's a lot of inventory, right? So that's going to put a downward pressure on prices. I think we'll see that continue into 2025. Part of the reason is that purpose-built rentals are now coming out of construction phase into like occupancy phase. So that's going to put a downward pressure on the prices of rentals because there's more available. So a lot of developers took their condos, flipped them to purpose-built rentals. Those are coming into play right now. Immigration slowed down a little bit as well. I will talk about another stat that immigration is still quite high relative, but it has slowed down a little bit compared to last year, so that's also putting a downward pressure on the prices of rentals as well. So I think that's why that stat we just saw where rentals are up about 3% already this year, it's because prices are going down a little bit too.
It's weird though, I have 2 overpriced ones and I got showings today.
You got showings today, interesting.
And they're overpriced for sure.
Overpriced, how long on the market?
Like 60 days.
60 days, and then today just got showings.
Yeah, it's really weird.
So what does that tell us about this week then? Like why today?
I even had one that's been on the market for 300 days, and we leased it last week.
300 days?
300 days.
And all of a sudden someone was like, yep, that's the one I want.
Yep.
Was it vacant?
Yep.
And you got the price that you wanted?
$50 less,
okay,
which
so
not too bad.
Not bad, but a little bit less, right?
Full houses are going quick. Like we have one like exclusively, we kind of leased it exclusively.
Those are probably more.
Didn't even get to the market full house.
Yeah.
500 at DVP and Lawrence.
It's interesting, hey?
Interesting. Yeah, mine are like apartment buildings by a property management company that own.
But yours
the
are
whole
renovated too, right?
building. Yep.
Yeah.
They're just overpriced.
Yeah, so I'm
All of
reading
them.
newly renovated, still single, family homes are still going to dominate rentals, but that's interesting. So I think we'll see maybe demand come up, but prices I think will come down a little bit for rentals, which is not a bad thing. Do you want me to keep going, or? I'll keep going because I'm still talking about rentals a little bit. There was a cool study that showed where in Canada it was cheaper to rent versus buy. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing in our stats, like in this renters nation, we're seeing more people rent. So it's kind of curious to see across Canada what the rental versus owning a house could be. So this company ran some stats based on December 2024 rental prices, and then assuming a mortgage of 25-year amortization, 20% down, 5-year fixed at let's say 4%. So they're comparing rentals for the same type of house, December versus that type of mortgage. So in Vancouver, someone renting a home pays on average just over $3,000 monthly, while that same comparable property would require a mortgage of $5,400. So that's a pretty big difference in Vancouver in your monthly. So it makes sense that people are gravitating towards renting because it's literally cheaper. This is just short-term type thinking, right? This is just your monthly costs. Toronto, it's not as extreme, but it's pretty similar. Where renters saving about $1,900 and Mississauga rentals saving about $1,600. So still Toronto, Mississauga, it's still cheaper to rent. Now that said though, you're not taking into consideration the long-term equity that you're building with a mortgage payment like that. There's also different lifestyle changes. In a mortgage, you're responsible for the upkeep of the home. So you've got to take that into consideration versus renting. A little bit more flexible. The landlord's taking care of most repairs. You can change your rentals every so often versus a mortgage. You're not likely to change that every so often. So different lifestyle factors. But Vancouver, Toronto, Ontario are all cheaper to rent versus buy. And then when you go into your other provinces, so Winnipeg, Manitoba, even Ottawa, those are still cheaper to purchase than it is to rent. So I think it's just the big urban cities that are going through that. But it's just interesting to see, and it kind of makes sense that people are renting more now than buying, which is not a good thing for us, but it's happening in the market. Yeah.
A couple of things that are going to affect tenants there. So Mayor Chow decided that she's going to increase the taxes 6.9%. Last year they increased it 9.5%. Unfortunately, even though the taxes have gone up 6.9%, they can only increase the rent by, what is it this year?
It's been 2.5.
2.5%. So.
Seems fair.
But they want more rental units, but it doesn't make any sense for people, right? Anyway, 6.9. But taxes for Toronto is still a fraction of what it is in the 905 areas, right? But I guess because there's more people there, right? Anyways, that's more politics. Politics again. Thank God that the Israelis and Hamas are trying to do a ceasefire. Hopefully that'll be the end of that. That was another distraction for everybody, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know if Trump did that or not, but he'll take credit for it. So.
Both are taking the credit.
No tariff here.
He'll take credit for it unless it goes bad, then he'll say it was Biden's fault. Just something off top of here. I just got this in the mail. Just got junk, guys that remove junk from houses, so on and so forth. And Sirhan talked about this as well. You guys all have a list of guys? Everybody has a list of guys?
Like people. It doesn't need to be guys.
Girls? Guys and girls? Girls and guys?
Team of experts.
I got a guy that can fix that roof. I got a guy that can cut that lawn. I got a guy that can paint that house. I got a guy that can clean up that mess. I've got a guy or a girl. I got a girl that can do this, a girl that can do that, however you want to do it. You know my point, right? Actually, Trump said we can say that now. Trump said you don't have to, what do you say? He's getting rid of the he and she and all that stuff.
Okay.
You have to be you have to be a he or a she, so.
You have to be here. No, we're not even going to get it.
Anyways,
Yeah, our YouTube video just got taken down.
just so you know, guys in my mind are male and female. They're not men.
Okay, let's
Let's keep going.
What time is it now? Yeah.
Guys all the time.
Chris, cut that out.
Is that all bad? I thought it was okay. Anyways.
You would think it's okay.
We just got canceled.
No, it's funny. You can keep going. No, you're done now.
I read somewhere the older you get, there's something in your front lobal that the older you get, you lose your filters.
I agree.
So if you
Yes.
so no, it's a I don't know, it's a psychological or physiological fact that like, you talk to your 9-year-old grandmother and she'll say something that's holy crap, man. But
it's true. That's why we're here to keep it all balanced and current. Current 2025. Tax season is approaching. This is just to let you know that the CRA is simplifying their website. I think previously you had 2 sections to log into. One was My CRA, one was My CRA Business. So if you were somebody that had a salary type job, you would have your income tax versus your business. They're just making it a single sign-on now, so you can toggle between the 2 sites. And so just a reminder that your filing will start February 24th, and you're independent contractors, so you'll be required at least to pay and file as opposed to, pay before you file. But we'll remind you of those deadlines when it comes closer to. Our deal admin will prepare tax worksheets probably in a couple weeks once we get through awards, and so you'll get that from our deal admin team as well.
Yeah, on tax topics, we are on Wednesday at 12 o'clock. I'll send out an email. There's going to be a webinar with the PREC planners and an accountant who will talk about taxes and all that stuff. So
that's online?
That's on Wednesday online at 12 o'clock.
Not in person at all? Only online?
Not in person. It's not run by us. It's run by the accountants, and I just thought it would be a good session for you guys to go to. It's the same ones we had before, the PREC planners.
They were good last year.
Plus Hendry Warren is the accounting firm. But they're going to be talking about why and how you should have holding companies, what happens to your PREC when you retire, understand how your income is taxed within a corporation, and a bunch of other stuff. So it'll be, if anyone's been thinking about a PREC and all that, it's a good session probably to go to.
So I talked to a lot of agents about tax stuff in there, and some agents, I'm sure not here, but some agents are not aware that you can create an account on My CRA. Create your account, and I think to create an account you've got to go in there and they got to mail you some kind of code or something there, and then you punch that code in. Once you've got the code, then you're okay. And I think the code has to be replaced every bunch of years. But anyways, you have access as the public, and I'll check with Rand here. You have access, like if let's say you want to apply for a mortgage or you want to apply for something, you have access to all your T4s and all your T4As and everything. It's all on My CRA. You don't have to be digging through all your files in some box someplace in the basement. It's all there on My CRA. It shows exactly how much money you've earned, how much your T4As are, how much tax you've paid, summaries, the whole works.
Contribution limits as well.
So if you're going to a mortgage broker and they're saying we need copies of your T4As and that, they're not saying you have to dig out your T4A and your physical piece of paper. Just go to My CRA and it's sitting there for you already. So if you're not participated in that, then there's my 2 cents. And they'll accept that, right?
Yeah, true.
Right?
D1s as well.
And this is why some people will think, well, doesn't the CRA give access to the mortgage lenders yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so eventually CRA is going to give the mortgage banks access to that information. So if somebody gives you a fake T4A, they're going to be caught right away. So there we go.
2024 awards winners were announced last week, so congratulations to our award winners. We're going to celebrate as a brokerage on February 26th. So that's your official save the date for our awards event. Century 21 will also host an awards evening the previous night on February 25th, so you can go to both of those. We're going to do it a little bit differently this year. We actually have a speaker coming out in the morning first on a 2025 market outlook, and then we'll go right into our awards celebration. So Ginny will send out, or Katelyn will send out more information about that, but that's your official save the date, Feb 26th. Paige will be collecting rings, so the sooner you give her your ring, the better chance we have at giving you back your ring on the 26th. There's a little bit of a short window, so we're not sure if we're going to have it in time. And then Century 21 has changed their trophy allocations a little bit this year. If you're a first-time winner of any category, you will get your trophy automatically. If you're a second-time winner, it's not automatic, and we need to order you one. So I'm going to be reaching out to second or multiple-time Centurion winners to find out if you want a Centurion or not. There's a sort of mode of thinking that people are trying to be environmentally friendly and might not want the collection of Centurions any longer. So if you look around our office along the windows, you'll see a collection of Centurions from throughout the years. So they're just asking us the question if we want one or not. If you want one, great, we'll order one. But there may be people who are like 30-year Centurion winners that just doesn't need the trophy anymore. Most likely, if you're new and you're winning it for the first couple times, you'll want it. But if you're over the Centurions, we don't have to order you one. So I'll be reaching out to you this week on that. And then is there anything else about awards? I'm looking at our team that everyone needs to know. Just that the event's on Feb 26th. We'll send out information about that.
It's a day event, right?
It's a daytime, morning, afternoon event with lunch. Okay. Claire, I'm curious about, did you see this, Bob Aaron's Tales from the Street? It's a little bit interesting. I'm curious your opinion on it because I'm surprised about the decision. This is a case where somebody purchased a house in Brampton as a high-value property, about $3 million, and it was advertised in MLS about 6,900 square feet of living space, about 4,800 of that was above ground. The listing had taxes, had a 2021 tax rate. This property was a couple years ago. Through the purchase, so the house was purchased, and as they were getting their financing, they noticed that the taxes were misrepresented. And they were misrepresented by quite a bit. It was about $2,700 versus $10,000 in the assessment. And it turns out that that property had been renovated, and so MPAC will assess properties based on square footage and other factors. And it appeared that they had done an extension, and MPAC did consider that extension, and when it got reassessed, the taxes were a lot higher, and they found out only just before financing. So the buyers did not close on the property due to not being able to get financing, and the judge ruled in favor of the sellers.
Yep.
Because it was an innocent representation that they didn't know the taxes had increased because they reported the taxes as they had them, and that they were forced the buyers to pay the difference of what they sold it for, which is $400,000, and a loss of their $100,000 deposit. Wow. So in this case, it was considered innocent misrepresentation because they didn't know, and they used the word, which what Claire will know, which is called the entire agreement clause in the purchase and sale, which says that there's no representation, warranty, collateral agreement, or condition which affects this agreement other than what is set out in the contract.
Do they have a permit on that extension?
I don't know.
So let's just frame that. Let's just frame that. So
yeah, you can reframe.
Let me reframe it so nobody's doing anything wild.
Yeah.
Okay. So chances are they didn't do the assessment, the reassessment. Chances are that sounds to me like the taxes and the assessed value was accurate that the listing agent had. So the listing agent took the current assessed value, put the mill rate on it, and that came with the taxes of $2,700.
Yeah.
In between selling that and closing, though, there was a reassessment, and the reassessment reassessed the taxes in between those two periods. And if you recall on your fine print of your offers, it says very clearly on there about CVA value is subject to change. So that would be innocent. Now. Yep. Let's reverse that a second. Let's say the taxes were $10,000 and the agent put $2,700 by mistake.
Yeah, we talked about that last
The agent is liable for a minimum $10,000 fine.
Yeah. And
the seller is responsible for 5 years of taxes, and which will likely sue the agent again for that loss as well.
Yeah.
So I want you to be clear here. The mistake was not made in this case.
There was no mistake. It was
if an agent doesn't make a mistake and puts the wrong tax on, it's a very serious matter.
Yeah, we talked about that case last week where they were fined about $10,000 for that. So.
Right. And that's just the end of it. That's just RICO.
So the point of this is you have buyers and you notice that the house is a little different or seems a little bit low. You might want to prepare them for a reassessment and an increase in taxes later on, and that they can't not close because of that.
Yeah, and just for your own interest, there's 2 ways to find out what the taxes are, right? 3 ways. One way would be get the tax bill from the client, right? That would be one. The second one would be to take the assessed value and go to the tax rates and put the mill rate on the assessed value. That would be number 2. And number 3, if you went to Jira Warehouse, it tells you what the taxes are anyways.
That's new.
That's new this year.
That's new, yeah.
Okay, but some people didn't know how to do the taxes before. Everybody knows how to do that. Just go to, just get the mill rate, which you can go to tax rates in the commercial part of the realm, and you'll get the mill rate and just put it on the assessed value and away you go. But it is a very serious thing, so.
Yeah, thanks.
I want to talk about another serious thing, but for RICO, just while we're at it here. Somebody came up with this question today. So about a couple of years ago, we had a client who we sold a house, and the buyer bought the house, and the buyer moved in and found out that there were bed bugs infested in the house. They sued us and won. What they're saying here, actually, they win? No, we didn't win. We settled out of court. The seller never told us that there was bed bugs. So our answer was, the seller never told us there's bed bugs, so what's going on? And they're saying, well, you did find out that was the argument. Did we know or did we not know? So now today, and people are looking at me like, bed bugs, what's a bed bug, right? If there's bed bugs in a property, what's your obligation as an agent? And the client told you.
Can you see the bed bugs?
Yes. Yes, you can see that. So where would you disclose it?
Lisanne said it. Lisanne said it.
So Teresa, which we're all familiar with, has this form. It's called a disclosure form, and you have to clearly, on the disclosure form, clearly state what the problem is. And you sounds right. So it's a proper form that you have to do, right? And basically just says there, a simple form, just says buyer acknowledges that the seller has treated the condominium for bed bugs. Done. Right? So the new disclosure rules require that. Other things too. Let's say the guy's basement leaks every spring. Same thing on the same form. You got to disclose that too.
Do you attach the form in the listing, or do you send it with offers?
I would attach it as a Schedule C on the agreement.
Question. Yeah. If somebody's basement all of a sudden it never had any leak or anything like that before, all of a sudden they bought it in the fall, and it's in springtime. All of a sudden it's after the rain, and this basement leaks.
Okay.
Does that applies the same thing?
So if I bought the house and the basement leaks and nobody told me, how am I going to feel?
But it never happened.
He's saying that if I
bought the house and all of a sudden I got a leaky basement, I think I'm going to sue the seller.
Yeah, okay, but what I'm saying is it never happened before.
He's suggesting that it's a new issue that the seller did.
I thought you just said it did.
No, it's never leaked.
No, I mean, it's a buyer beware too. I mean, you got to be careful with that, right?
There's nothing to disclose because you didn't.
There's nothing to disclose if you didn't disclose. I mean, you're not guaranteeing a house. Yeah. But if you knew that it leaked before closing, then you have a problem.
But you never had an issue before.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's a new issue.
Yep. So just be careful with that. That's all. So.
Yeah, on the note of new forms, I think I mentioned last week, but there is a bunch of updates to the current forms. So like our agreements, there's some changes in the wording. Listing agreements, there's about 30 of them that have changed. There's also 3 new forms, which is a representation agreement, a commission agreement, and another disclosure form. So I'll update all of our stuff with the girls as well. Those forms are really only if you're dealing with a mirror posting or a self-represented person. If you get into those situations, just call me or Nelson, honestly, because they all differ a little bit. I can't really talk about it generally, but talk to Nelson or I if you're in that situation so we can tell you the right forms, because the forms just changed again last week, so it's an ever-changing type thing. So just talk to us if you get into that situation. You go with that.
So Treb has courses out there for those people that haven't caught on to the realm yet. We started Realm when? When did Realm start?
Well, like 3 years ago, but officially last year.
It feels like it's been around for like a long time.
Was it December?
I feel like I did like 3 training years of it.
So there are some people that like hands-on in-class training, which Treb is offering. So if you're still a little confused or not comfortable with it, they've got a 3-day course at Treb. You can sign up through Treb and actually go there and physically do that. So if you're one of those agents that hasn't caught on just yet, spend the 3 days and get a hold of Treb, right?
Yeah, and that's on like Realm itself, and then I'm actually going to bring in Treb to talk about new MLS rules, because there is some new rules that took account in December, and just some of the fields that have changed, and there's different fields, so we're actually going to bring somebody right from Treb in to talk about that kind of stuff, and we'll do it maybe on a consecutive basis. I had to have this, that's all I have left anyways before we move to Katelyn.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. So Katelyn has always usually more exciting stuff than...
Not really. Last week we did email marketing. Did anyone have a chance to dive into that? Hopefully you guys all have your email marketing campaigns set up.
Our home evaluation went out today. We got like 10 to 15 evaluation requests.
So I taught you guys a few different methods for email marketing. Either if you have zero tech skills at all, you have access to My CR Works to at least get some sort of email marketing newsletter out once a month. If you're middle tech, you can use Hub 21 and set up automated campaigns for your clients. And if you're a little bit more high tech, there's a way on Hub 21 that you guys can actually customize your campaigns. So like Carly said, we set up our own campaigns. Today we sent one out saying, curious to know what your home is worth. Goes out to all of our past clients. And I believe we got about 10 people that clicked on the home evaluation link, which were all past clients. So now we can see who's actually curious to know what their house is worth. Gives you an excuse to now reach out again to see if they're thinking about selling this year. Because a lot of them were people that bought maybe 5 years ago. That was a tip. There was another manual email we sent out last week to 2020 buyers that we had. We just sent out a very generic email on Gmail just saying, hey,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Market's looking healthy right now. You purchased a home 5 years ago, which means you may or may not be coming up for a mortgage renewal, which is going to be a little bit more shocking on their monthly payment than when they purchased in 2020. So we were just saying, hey, just reach out if you want to talk to our mortgage broker or want to know what your house is worth, or you want to get ahead of it. So if their mortgages are coming up. So just some ideas for you guys to reach out. I had given you guys the hack to reach out to Paige or Heather to ask her to send you a list of all of your deals that you may have done in 2020. She'll print up every single transaction you guys have done if you guys don't already have your CRMs.
The other thing you can look at is your tax worksheet from that year, because the end of it has a summary of all the deals that you did that year.
Yeah.
So you have that already in your inbox somewhere.
Yeah. So reach out to your 2020 buyers. It's a great time, especially they may think about selling. So that's a tip and trick, I guess. Claire was talking a little bit last week. We made a reel on Claire about motivation and how to find motivation. And he was talking about the only way to find motivation is to have discipline, which is our word of the year, I think, is discipline. So I found an article here talking about the 5 key disciplines to thrive in 2025. So if you guys are finding that you're not motivated or you don't have a schedule and you don't know what to do every day, I'm going to give you guys a list of things that you guys can be doing. So they're saying most agents don't know what they need to do to succeed, but struggle most agents do know what to do to succeed, but struggle to actually turn those ideas into actions. So the 5 key disciplines that drive success is 1, having a business plan, which we did with you guys in December. 2 is having time management. 3 is setting aside prospecting time. 4 is having accountability. And 5 is tracking and measuring your results. So you've probably heard these before, because we talk about them all the time, but knowing isn't doing. So there's an implementation gap right now. So for the number 1, if you're doing a business plan, so you cannot plan the rest of those items like that I just talked about, time management, prospecting. You can't plan any of those without actually having a plan to do them, which comes in your business plan. So your business plan doesn't need to be complicated. It could literally just be setting a transaction goal, so how many houses you guys want to sell in the next 3, 6, 12 months, and then break it down into 5 controllables. So let's just say you have a goal of selling 10 houses. Then you need to figure out how many phone calls do I need to make daily and weekly to get that many houses. Figure out how many conversations you need to have daily and weekly. How many appointments do you need to go on each week to get that transaction goal? How many offers do you need to write? And then how many transactions do you need to close to hit, maybe it's an income goal? Time management. So once your plan is set on all of those things, how many phone calls you want to make, conversations, appointments, then you need to actually fit that into your schedule. So Claire was talking last week, if you get called to go to the grocery store, or you need to go to the bank, you need to have a time. You need to say, okay, I don't go to the gym between the hours of 10 and 5 p.m. I do that before work or after work. So treating it like you have a 9-to-5 job. So they suggest time blocking for daily prospecting, lead generation, and follow-up, which to me is pretty normal. So you guys get to pick. You're all self-employed, but you all get to pick when you decide that those are the right times for you. For prospecting, it's a numbers game, so it doesn't need to be complicated, but it does need to be consistent. So you have a certain amount of transactions you want to close, so you need to know how many calls you need to make in order to hit that goal. And that number is different for everybody. So some people can make 5 calls and get a sale. Some people can make 200 calls. So that's a thing that you guys need to start tracking. For accountability, put yourself around like-minded people. So if there's other people that are making calls, or there's other people door knocking, or there's other people out there, maybe surround yourself with people, or coming into the office when there's a lot of people around that are like-minded as well. You may learn some techniques that other people are doing that are better than what you're doing. And then of course, tracking and measuring. So if you're not tracking and measuring these, then you're just flying blind. So every week, so if you don't know how many transactions or how many conversations, how many appointments it takes to go on, then you need to start tracking to figure that out. So things to track would be calls made, how many conversations did you have, how many appointments did you schedule, how many offers did you write, and then how many transactions were closed. And then review these regularly. Other things for improvement that you could be doing right now is practicing scripts. I get agents all the time asking me, what do I say? Like, anything. Say hello. Even today he was talking about how do you gain confidence in talking to people, and he talked about the 2 C's. One would be to compliment somebody, and one would be, what was the other one?
Common grounds.
Common grounds. So figuring out different things that you relate on. So just talk like a normal human and then start talking about real estate. So if you guys are one of those people that doesn't know what to say, there are thousands of scripts online. Just Google it. Go to ChatGPT. Say, I want to make calls to my past clients. What do I say? And read those scripts. So don't rely on us to be giving you guys scripts all the time. There's literally thousands on the internet. So if you don't know what to say, look it up.
I was talking to an agent last week at a Pickering Village office, and she's quite seasoned. She's been around for a long time, and she's a multi-year award winner. And she was doing her calls, and she had her little sheet, and she was doing that. She did it for about an hour, and then she came out of her office, and I said, how'd your calls go? She goes, great, I love doing my calls. It's the favorite part of my day. And I said, the biggest question we get is, what do you say when you do these calls? And she looked at me, and she's like, that's the easiest thing ever. You just talk about life. She's like, don't talk about real estate. You just ask them how you're doing. And then they'll say how they're doing, and then you build on that. You might not even talk about real estate at all. It's okay, great, I'll call you again in 2 weeks to see how you're doing. That's the easiest part, according to her, right? And she does that every single day.
Yep.
She's been doing that every day for like probably 30 years.
She's been in the business, I think she's almost 80 years old, and she's still kicking it, so yeah. Other things to spot for improvements, preparing for your appointments. So don't, like Claire said, know your numbers when you're showing up to a listing presentation. Make sure you understand what the numbers are and going and like what the market's doing and all that before you even go to them. Preparing for showings. So don't just book showings and show up. Actually research each property, look into it, know what the comparables are so that you know what you're talking about when you're sitting in front of those buyers. Know the market well enough to make the right offers. Blah, blah, blah. So those are the disciplines. Hopefully you guys all do that, right?
Everyone's disciplined. They're all here today for 12 p.m.
There you go. Had some other stuff. What time is it? Oh, we got some time. Wow. Then they talked about 3 visuals that will help transform your business. So we said, imagine watching a football game and having no idea what the score is. That would be very chaotic and unproductive. But that's exactly how a lot of real estate agents approach their business. You guys don't have scoreboards, there's no visuals, there's no clear understanding of the progress. So 3 visuals that you guys should have plastered across your work location, so on your desks at your office. One would be a sales tracker. So like, again, knowing like what your goals are, how many conversations you're having, even just writing down all the transactions that you're doing and putting a check mark when it sells or when it closes, or having your buyers' names listed somewhere, your sellers' names. So having a nice giant whiteboard in your office and actually tracking things in front of you, you should have something like that. Your income producing activities, like I said, and then your scripts. So that's the other one. So if you guys don't know what to say, go look up some scripts and have them posted somewhere visually. And then when you're doing your prospecting activities, you have your conversations already plastered in front of you, whether they're on your desk, they're on your computer, whatever it is. So having those 3 visuals will help you.
Yep. Along with your vision board.
And your vision board. I know I've got a few vision boards printed out here. Okay, so in terms of upcoming events, so like I said, on Wednesday, there's a tax webinar that's being done. But also, do any of you guys have Richard Robbins' emails? Are any of you guys on his email list? So he's a local real estate coach. He's going to be, and I think every agent should sign up for this because it's free, but he's going to be hosting a 4-session Millionaire Mindset Challenge from February 3rd to 6th. It's complimentary. It's all online as well. So there's going to be 4 one-hour trainings for 4 consecutive days. So February 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, Monday to Thursday. He's going to be giving actionable insights and strategies to help you build an unstoppable mindset. Here's what you'll take away. Master real estate resilience. So learn habits of top producing agents, how to navigate economic shifts, market challenges, and client unpredictability. Develop a bulletproof mindset for success, how to maintain focus, stay on track, and hit your biggest goals. Unlock the secrets of the industry's best. So I bet he's going to bring in some of his agents probably to do a few sessions that are going to talk about things that they're currently doing to grow their business and generate wealth and results. So I think that's going to be a really good thing for you guys to sign up for.
That's different for Rich to do that.
He's never done this before.
Cool.
He hosts a lot of like in-person free events. I don't even know, he did something in November you guys went to, so I don't really know what he's promoting, but probably promoting his coaching program is what I'm going to guess.
Yeah, I think they're trying to do different things too to stand out, right? So
yeah, but it's free. So I think everyone should go Monday to Friday. We'll post it here in the office. It's going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern time every day, which is right smack in the middle of your day.
You do it right after a Monday meeting on the Monday, though?
Yeah. Is it on Monday? Yes. Yeah, so we can host it Monday, and then Wednesday we have a training that morning, so we can host this here in the afternoon, but I'll send out a link for that today if anyone wants to join that. But it'll be registered through him, not through us. That's all I got.
Cool.
We got Brian Buffini as well.
Did we sign up for that?
No.
What date is that?
I think I just gave
No,
it.
you gave me Richard Robbins.
Oh, I thought it was. Oh, sorry. And Buffini's coming up. He's coming up soon too. Does anyone remember when?
Nope.
I think it was $250 for a.
Yeah.
$250 online. I forget what date it is. We'll have to stay tuned for that.
I'll send you a bulletin.
Everything's online these days, though, which is a
I think they're
big
starting
thing.
to learn.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to talk about this serious thing?
Mm-hmm.
Want me to introduce it?
Yep.
So we feel a little guilty when we say stuff like this because it doesn't always apply to exactly the people here in this room or online. But we are noticing a little bit of a trend of people not completing their paperwork, including FinTrack. I don't know why. I think does it look scary? Like for those that, I mean, I think
And
we all
added in
have to
those
complete
little,
FinTrack.
added in the scorecard.
I know they changed the scorecard. Like, is it intimidating to fill out? But everyone in here fills it out. So I know I'm asking the wrong audience probably. Treb has introduced, and it's not a new tool, but we are going to start recommending to use it, FinTracker. Does anyone else use it today already? It's an app. You downloaded it, yeah. So we're going to start to recommend to use this. It may even be mandatory one day in the future. We know of another Century 21 brokerage that just had a FinTrack audit, and we had ours a long time ago, and it was intense then, but it's way more intense today than it even was when I did it. And so they've shared those results with us, and so instead of just being reactive and waiting for our next audit, we're going to be proactive about it and just get ahead of it and take the learnings that they've learned. So FinTracker is an app that's available to all Treb members for free. So there's really no excuse for us to not utilize something like this. It's quite easy to use. You'll download it, put in your Treb ID. It already has our brokerage listed there, so it's really easy to sign up. And you'll have 2 options to identify somebody. So the true way to identify somebody is in person when you meet them. I know the street level is a lot of people ask their clients for a photo of their ID, which they'll WhatsApp or email them to them, and then you'll fill out the FinTrack form after the deal is done. The true way is to do it right away in person when you meet them. You have to validate their identity with their ID in hand in person. So the FinTracker app, when you meet them in person, you sign your agreement, they show you the ID, you can actually scan the barcode of the driver's license and it will pre-populate the form for you. You will still answer some questions as to if you know the client personally, if they live near the airport, so you know some of those questions on that form. So you'll do it in the form though to validate that and you'll have some accountability to that. The other way is it can actually send your client a link for them to go and show their ID and show their face. We tested it a little bit today. I don't think your clients will love that unless they're super high tech. The in-person method is the best way to scan it right away, but you won't be able to upload a photo of the driver's license. license. So you physically have to see them in person, because that's the proper way to identify somebody. Otherwise, it's pretty easy. And if you don't like that, you need to submit the FINTRAC form manually. So at some point, we do need FINTRAC form, and we may hold back pay if we don't have it, because it is a legal requirement. It's not a TRESA thing or a ORIA or CREA. It's a legal requirement. And the app is pretty cool. It's free for Treb members, like I said. There really is no reason. Claire, you've tested it out a little bit yourself as well.
Yeah, not as much as I want to, but I'm telling everybody here to download the app. It's a free app. Download the app and then identify yourself and get used to it, right? So let me just go back a little bit here for FINTRAC. You guys all know, I don't have to remind you, hopefully Rico's told you, FINTRAC is a federal requirement by law. It's not an option. It's not like I don't feel like it, right? And what you're supposed to do, I'll just tell you what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to physically see the driver's license, for instance. The driver's license, you're supposed to look at it yourself. They're not supposed to photocopy and email it to you, then you look at it. That's not.
And not after the deal.
That is not FINTRAC, right? And I think a lot of people say, take a picture of your driver's license and send it to me. That does not work. You physically have to see it yourself, because it's your
identity.
The way the government looks at it, everybody's a criminal unless you prove otherwise. So a criminal's going to give you a. Anybody had fake ID from a tenant?
No.
No, everybody has, I'm sure, right? So what FINTRAC's concerned about is fake ID from buyers and sellers, right? So you're physically supposed to see it. But anyways, I won't touch that. If you cannot physically see that piece of that ID yourself, then you can do what's called a remote ID, and they allow you 5 free per year, and after that costs money. But the remote ones means that they can do it themselves. So what they have to do, they have to take a selfie. They have to take a picture of their ID, and they have to fill all this stuff. So the program is sophisticated enough to know that you can't scan a photocopy of a driver's license. It won't work. You can't, it has all these holograms on, all that stuff. This program reads all that stuff. So it's pretty high tech and it's pretty secure. Mm-hmm. So by law, we have to do this. So if you're going to do it the normal way, that's fine. Get the driver's license out, fill out all the information, or why not just take your FINTRAC and take a picture of it? It's the trend nowadays. Most brokerages out there in the city of Toronto now are mandatory FINTRAC CUR forms. We're not going that far just yet, but it's mandatory for a lot of companies now. They don't want to see the handwritten one, they want to see this. Some people, they fill out the proper form with all yes, no, and then has a little scorecard at the bottom. You're supposed to add up all the little thing and come up with a scorecard. The FINTRAC adds it up for you and gives you the score. So it's pretty slick.
Yeah. It is pretty good. We think the easiest way is just make it part of your system. Katelyn always talks about systems and what is your listing system or your buyer system. So when we meet with a seller and they like what we have to say, we go ahead and sign a listing agreement, we ask for ID right then and there. And now with the app, you can scan that ID and your FINTRAC is done. So it doesn't, as soon as you get ready to list, but make it part of your listing system or your buyer system when you meet them for the first time. Identify them right away so you're not thinking about it later after the deal is done or when deal admin is bugging you for the FINTRAC, because that's not the proper way to do it anyway. So just make it your habit and your routine to identify that person.
Let me just extend that for a moment. Does anybody, when they ask for their client's ID, the client gives them the ID and they take a picture with your phone? Is that what you normally do?
100% people do that.
Okay, so don't take a picture with your phone. Take a picture with the FINTRAC.
Exactly.
It's the same thing, right? You're taking a picture anyways. Take it with the FINTRAC and make it proper.
Yeah, because that would be, you would take a picture and then you go back and you fill it in, right? So it's okay. You've identified them in person.
Yeah,
that's not the bad thing. But
you're already taking a picture. Just do it in the FINTRAC app.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll send more information about that. I think we're highly, highly recommending you use it without using the word mandatory. We are really encouraging you and pushing you guys to use this app.
Especially if you got somebody that's in Vancouver. Now, in Vancouver, you've not seen them. You're supposed to hire somebody in Vancouver to identify that person to do it properly. You're supposed to hire somebody that's going to look at their ID themselves. They're going to fill out that form themselves. That's how you're supposed to do it. I don't know if sure anybody does it. That's how you're supposed to do it. So with this app,
we had an agent do it recently in Alberta, and one of the brokers out at Century 21 out in Alberta just did it. They went to their office, they did it for them.
Right. So with this app here, you don't have to do that. They can do it all through this.
Yeah. If you're selling or buying your own property, you need someone else to verify your identity. So we can do that, but you come in person and we'll use the app.
Question, Hamid, do you?
Because there wasn't actually a few of them, so I just wanted to...
That's the right one.
Yes,
you can show it. It looks
it's the green one with the green F. There you go.
And when you start to register, they'll ask you what brokerage you're part of, and then you'll see Century 21 Clare Fulton come up, and it's all connected to your Treb ID number. And you don't have to log in. It uses your thumbprint to log in, which is so nice. It uses biometrics to log in.
Are they all free now?
Sorry?
Are they all free?
It's free, except that you get 5 remote. So those are like when you send a link to your client, you get 5 of those free. And then after that, I think it's like $1 each, or you buy like a little subscription. But the scanning, you get unlimited for free. Cool. Is that the only serious thing you needed to talk about? Any more serious things?
No, that's all.
I'll introduce Nazir while we're here. This is Susan's husband. He's joining us. Welcome, Nazir. And I think Tia, I introduced you already, Tia, right? Okay, just again, because I'm seeing you fresh face. And Kate Jones, she's coming to the meetings now. She's not new, but I'm just introducing because they're new faces.
Yeah. Husband, you guys have competition now.
Independent contractor.
Okay, just go back to serious stuff for a second here.
Sorry.
A lot of Asians have forms pre-saved on their desktop on their computer, so that makes things fast. All right? All those forms have to be replaced.
Yeah, we're replacing all of them like this week.
RICO rules, regulations say we must use current forms. So, the reason I say that, I've looked at other guys' forms. Where'd you get the 2023 form? What's in my computer? Just delete it. Get rid of it.
I've even seen 2009 forms. I've seen some really old ones.
Well, I've always done it that way. I know. Well, there we are.
You'd be surprised. We still get the question, working with a realtor. I've seen some people submit the working with a realtor with the RICO guide. So you don't need that form anymore. RICO guides replace that. It will always remind you in the SkySlope checklist what we need. So. Cool. Anyone have listings that you want to talk about or share, or assignments, or any tales from the street?
Sold the Whitby condo.
Sold Whitby condo. Woohoo! Another condo sold.
Those are tricky, right?
So we talked about that last week. Did you do something, or just got all of a sudden activity?
No, it just happened. I had an agent show it, and first-time buyer, and they went back again with parents and put together an offer, signed back, counter offer.
Nice.
Good.
Is that on board?
It's conditional. I mean,
No, that's fine. No, but Sanik was talking about how Lise was sitting there for months, and all of a sudden he gets a couple of people inquiring.
I think that pent-up demand is
I wonder if the pent-up demand is starting to creep in a little bit.
Waldorf thing.
We had 23 people show up at the open house that Rochelle had there, so it's like.
Where was your condo?
Whitby.
Waldorf and Whitby, you know that.
It's at Roslyn and.
That's what Ryan was talking about. Like, do it bit by bit, sign back by sign back. Like, it doesn't need to be 100 grand all at once. Like, let's chip at it, right? Good.
Does anybody have any property that isn't selling? Not selling?
Yes, we have one, but Curtis is going to buy it sometime this week, I think. So
we're going to bridge the gap.
No pressure, right?
We're going to bridge the gap.
We're going to bridge the gap together. We're going to do this. Anyone else? Claire, anything else?
Let me just make sure I'm reading positive. I got half of prospective buyers cut spending to achieve their home ownership goals in 2025. 2025 mortgage renewal forecast. That's going to be what? 1.2 million Canadians are going to be renewing their mortgages. Fran, you got any advice on mortgages? What's going on up and down?
I don't think so. There'll be a rate cut.
So yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. McCree is saying here, expect the unleashing of demand for real estate this spring. That's encouraging.
Yeah.
Housing market is prolonged period of consultation. That's fine. So Rand doesn't think there's going to be an increase on the 29th,
I believe it is. Bet?
I said last week I wasn't sure myself.
No, you guys both did half a quarter. Or
wait, what's his?
You did a quarter. You both did a quarter.
We did a quarter, but now we reserve the right to change our mind.
Okay.
Think it's going to stay?
I think it's going to stay.
You're going to stay? I hope it does. That's the 29th. We'll find out.
Stay as is? Yes, yes.
You hope it does? You want to come down?
No, it go down.
I don't want any more distractions or info that people are waiting for. Let's just be stable. And
clearly you're not
It's funny Corey says that, because anytime we have a quarter rate discount, I'll say that, and somebody say, well, when's the next one?
Exactly.
Yeah, keep going.
Right.
We have a question online. Do you have to disclose a death in a property when it's just for lease with the tenant? Yes. Yes. So the situation, there was a murder inside the unit. She's wondering if it needs to be disclosed. Yes.
That should be disclosed.
Well, I don't know where that place is.
It's funny. You always get this question, right? And it's always a two-part question. I'll just go back to the old one. Remember I said that you have to report a death, a murder that was in a property that was back in 1910. And first of all, I say 1910. I don't think so. And then I tell them, oh, by the way, the murder, the wife murdered the husband and the son and cooked them up in the furnace. Oh, well, I guess I have to disclose that. So you better disclose it all the time. No, it doesn't matter.
Just don't assume.
It's up to the buyer to decide whether it makes sense or not. Not up to us.
Yeah, and the tenant.
And the tenant.
Mm-hmm.
We have it in our clauses too about death and all
Sure.
that.
We have it there to remind you, not that you have to use
And
it.
if people are typing their own offers, if you get the office to type your offer, we put a clause in there saying that the seller warrants that there hasn't been any deaths, fires, insurance claims, whatever it might be on there, because it's up to the buyer's agent to find out whether or not somebody died in there, whether or not it affects their buyer. It's not up to the seller to disclose it, it's up to the buyer to ask for it. So if you type your own offers, make sure you throw that clause in.
I don't know why you type up your own offers.
No.
It's so easy.
Because they're on your desktop.
I don't know. The girls are there till 9
They'll
o'clock
fill
every
it out,
day. Yeah.
email it to you. It's all done.
They're there for you. Okay.
Don't be a hero.
Anything else? There's no holiday next week. We're back here on Monday. Everything's normal. Same. Okay. Have a great week. Let us know if you need any help. We'll see you.